Hello, my name is Sukaji, and welcome back to episode 4 of Sukaji Speaks. I am so excited to record this episode because it's like the final big piece of the framework in terms of building your new reality. And so, in this episode, I will be covering stage 3 and 4, which stage 3 being in flow and stage 4 is flourishing. They're kind of, I wouldn't say the same, but they are meant to be together because in flow is just kind of like being in that flow state, being in that state of just presence, and then flourishing, I think, would be you receiving your manifestations, but they kind of go together because it's like these stages are like a cycle. It never really ends. It just gets quicker and faster in terms of how or the speed in which you go through them, and it might take within your first initial time take longer, but as you continue to go through life, it'll become, second nature to do these things. And maybe there'll be a point where it's like you don't even need a certain stage for a certain evolution. Not saying that it's never going to be used again, but you'll be able to maneuver through them with ease, with more practice. So within this episode, as I said before, I would be covering the third and fourth stage of building your reality, or the fourth stage, which is really experiencing your reality, or both are experiencing. But the fourth is like receiving or experiencing that manifestation that you sowed with intent. And so the topics that I'm going to cover DNA activation, which I wanted to cover in the last episode, but I just wasn't done editing the download that I was getting, and I wanted it to be precise. The second thing is just being present, being an observer. And the third and final topic will be the reintroduction into the world as your new self. Okay, so the first topic we're covering is DNA activation. This is a little chunky, but when you start living a more self-actualized life, you start to cleanse, activate, and upgrade your DNA. Our DNA has instructionary codes for every stage of evolution, past, present, and future. And with DNA being coded by 4 building blocks throughout all living organisms, the possibilities are endless in terms of what can be built, even if it has not been seen before. By raising your vibration in the present, you are releasing codes that no longer resonate with you. You are activating past codes that were dormant due to being in a different energetic threshold, and also upgrading and receiving new light codes of future evolutions. With cleansing and releasing karmic and unaligned habits and patterns, you will experience the alchemy and transmutation of the generational curses that are embedded within your DNA. Generational curses being habitual patterns and actions that have been taken unconsciously. So within your bloodline, if your parents, grandparents, and generations before you weren't living self-actualized lives, most of their behaviors and patterns they inherited and learned from the people closest to them and the world around them, in which they developed self-concepts from. Your beliefs and knowings, which are your self-concept, shape your behavior. And through taking actions based on beliefs that are unaligned with your true authentic self, you create a reality for yourself that does not resonate with you. Then you react to the stimuli of said reality, the positive or negative factors within your life. Then in that reaction, your body releases hormones based off of your emotional state. Then your body responds to the internal stimuli, the emotional states, and attempts to bring equilibrium to your body as a response to your internal reaction to the external stimuli. But if you continue to live an unactualized life, you will pick up habits and patterns that provide temporary fixes to your problems. Then your hormones will be the ones running the show, making you take certain unaligned actions to achieve phantom peace. And because these actions are out of alignment, for example, like addictions to food, alcohol, drugs, sex, and toxic emotional and mental habits, through repeated actions, these habits then cause damage to your bodily processes and organs, which cause you further to become more out of balance. And the more dis-ease your body goes through, the further development of chronic diseases such as high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, fibroids, and so on and so forth. And in the body's way of trying to fix itself when it is creating proteins, because your biochemical makeup is changing, this means that the cells of bodily functions and organs are going to change to fit the new internal environment that has been changed due to the reaction and response to the external reality, which means that the instructions or the DNA is changing as well. We see this phenomenon with epigenetics when there has been a certain amount of trauma on the body that has caused there to be deviations in the cells, which are then encoded and replicated within the DNA. Then these genes and habits are passed down to generations after, even if they have not experienced the level of trauma that caused the change within the first place. So when you are becoming self-actualized, you are literally changing and upgrading your DNA. And when there are major changes happening to your DNA, your body is going to be really tired. And it's because it's like all of your energy is being spent on the DNA upgrades. And this is what happens in ascension and why people experience ascension symptoms, which are like feeling fatigue, running nose, headache, fever, coughing, body aches. Like these symptoms are live signs of your DNA upgrading and your body raising its vibrations to align with higher frequencies. Because if you think about it, if you have been living your life unconsciously and reacting and not responding, the average or main frequencies and vibrations that your cells have been vibrating or resonating at will be at a lower scale. But once you start on your spiritual journey and living more consciously and with intent, you're raising your vibration or your main vibrational threshold. So you're introducing a new vibration and frequency that is going to be your baseline. And so to get there, your cells have to rid all of the lower vibrational DNA and instructionary codes to be able to survive at a new baseline, a higher equilibrium. With activation, you are connecting back to the versions and evolutions within your existence as pure consciousness, your bloodline, and ancestors who were open to their power, authenticity, abilities, and gifts. Even if the expression of them wasn't balanced, through being in the same energetic threshold, there is a divine remembrance of these powers and abilities. And through your existence, the balance and mastery of these gifts will occur. and those after you will pick up from where you left off. And lastly, with DNA upgrades, through the embodiment of higher frequency and light codes, these are new thoughts and ideas that you're becoming more open to. Through that, then based on what new ideas and thoughts that you resonate with, you are grounding new light codes, new life waves, a new way of being that has not been seen, witnessed, or experienced yet. And through that, your DNA will start to code these new ways of being. And in fulfilling the role of evolution, in upgrading your DNA, you will be taking the life and the reality of what we know as spiritual beings within a human vessel to new heights. So that download was really a doozy, but it's deep, being more conscious, being aware, reaching self-actualization is so deep. You are literally changing the very code of your existence. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much change is occurring internally, because we are in a matrix, in a reality where majority of people only value external change or value external things, value external productivity. But when you're really becoming aligned with yourself, you are creating so much change within, so much change within a cellular level, and even past that, So I just want to reiterate that, especially with the last episode of when you are purging and doing that internal work, to really have grace and compassion for yourself. Because even though you can't see exactly what's happening, the changes are happening. And these changes need to occur for you to be able to be, act, and express and take aligned action in the way of your most authentic self, of your highest self, of your most liberated self, of your most freest self. So really be proud of the internal work that you're doing, even if you can't see it. Be proud of you taking the time to prioritize yourself and basically changing the foundations of your existence within this lifetime. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it's huge work. And just, as I said before, just be more compassionate and celebrate that. Because when you're going through it, and if you're surrounded by people who don't really have the time or the resources or the care to do it, it's not going to be seen as important. But you have to constantly remind yourself that what you're doing is important, because you are preparing yourself for greater. That's a banger right there. Okay. The next topic that I'm going to cover is being present and being an observer. With being present, it's really about focusing all of your attention within the present moment. Being your attention fully 100% on what's in front of you, what you're doing, who you're speaking to. because when you are kind of like half there, half somewhere else, you're not fully going to be able to receive the experience, the people, places, and things, and sometimes the miracles, the blessings that are within the present moment because your mind is elsewhere, And being present is very important because you realize that within this, your new reality, you're really the one that is setting the course or setting the direction of how your life wants to go. And in being present, you are creating the, precedence for what your future self is going to experience, since the thoughts, ideas, feelings that I have right now are what my future self is going to experience within that present. And so in being in the present moment, in just existing, you'll be able to authentically create your reality, because it's like you're so present, you're able to pick up on the things that you love. And even if it is a situation that you might define as negative, like you're still able to navigate and kind of categorize and experience it in a way that is the most purest form of experience, instead of it being clouded by emotions, ideas, and energies that don't really resonate with what is going on right now, right? Like bringing the past into the present when you are experiencing something totally new. And also, like, with being in the present moment, you really have to, as I said, like, let go of the past and what you've had experienced before, because it's like when you really are the creator of your reality, whatever is coming to you, you have the power to decide what it is and how you're going to define it and how you're going to respond to what is coming to you, and what story you're going to, what story you're going to tell yourself based off of what is coming to you. And that ties in with being an observer, of trying to have like a neutral stance and like really taking the time to see the experience, the situation, the person, place, and thing for what it is, and then being able to place a quote-unquote label on how you feel about it, because it's like your feelings are what are creating your reality, through what vibration you're in. That's what you're going to be attracting. And when you are more self-actualized, when you are more self-aware, your power in terms of what you attract is going to be like even stronger, because it's like you've taken all that time to really cleanse and purify your attention, your energy, your power. And in being in this like new state, this new self, like you are so much more attractive. And not just like in a physical sense, but like in an energetic sense. You are so attractive in terms of what you can attract for yourself. And so it's like through being an observer, you kind of allow you to experience it before you put a label on it, which is why people say it's better to respond than react. Because if you react to something based off of past habits and patterns, past baggage, past burdens. Then you put a label on it, and maybe it was something totally different than what you've priorly experienced, but because it's like a similar package or similar experience, similar of what you thought, it's like you're kind of reverting back to the old reality or the old self-concept or the old story that you would tell yourself, And so it's really about just like allowing and the art of letting go, like letting go of things, especially when you are becoming a master manifester and manifesting from a flow state. Like, things will come to you. You will attract things. And it's just knowing that you always get what you want, knowing that the things that you desire you more, and that they will come in divine timing or at the right place at the right time, knowing that you're at the right place at the right time. And knowing these things, you'll be able just to state your desire, whether it be verbally or within your mind, and detach from it. And then that thing will come into your experience, and it's so magical. Literally, I mean, you're a magician. Like, when you reach this point, you really are a magician, and you are creating your life through intention and seeing how it's, mirrored back to you. And as you go forward in it, you become, better at it, stronger at it, and you're able to attract bigger, better things, or things that are just more in alignment with you. And, if you keep going, you literally will be living the life of your dreams. But in that, you really have to release expectation of what it looks like, because if you are always expecting instead of being open and intending, then when you do receive the thing that you did call in, and it's not really a match to what you expected, which is through the ego, then you won't really fully receive the gift, And definitely, when you are releasing expectations, you have to build a level of trust with yourself, a level of trust with the unknown, a level of trust with the universe, God, source, whatever your higher power is, that you know that you are going to be fulfilled with what you receive, that you won't be disappointed, that you will experience joy, you will always get what you want. And in being present, there are periods where you will have like states of peace, states of abundance, states of fulfillment with nothing, because it's like you really are creating from your internal, from your deep emotions, from your beliefs, through taking aligned action. And there will be times or periods where you literally will just be like, you feel like you're floating, like it's just like at least for me, like I feel like my happiest moments are really experienced just like by myself, or not necessarily by myself, but like it's not like a external thing that created that happiness. Like, I created my own happiness for myself, and then as a result of that, I receive things, right? But like in receiving things, when you become like the creator of your reality, you'll really realize that like the things outside of you really don't determine your happiness. Like, you are the ones that are determining your own happiness. And like people, places, and objects like won't really hit as strongly as they used to, because of the emotional attachment that you used to have to it, which you don't anymore, because you are centered, grounded, anchored in your power, and your emotions are power. So it's like you're more powerful now because you are you realize that you don't need anything to be happy. And when you value your own just emotions, your own power, your own energy more than the external, that makes things more attractive to you. Because it's like you're not placing your attention on the external, you're placing it in the internal within yourself. And through those states of peace, of abundance, of fulfillment, you will be able to birth beautiful things. And I'm not saying that all the experiences that are outside of you just are never going to make you feel happy, never make you going to feel joyful anymore, but it's kind of, or initially is going to, you will feel the difference, and know that, dang, it's really me that is making this thing beautiful, But also you will be able to recognize beauty in other things and see it as a mirror. Like, oh, if I see, something that like I really like and it spurs like joy within me, like I know, oh, that's a mirror of my beauty. We are connecting through that, person, place, or thing, idea, thought. We're connected through that vibration, through that frequency, so it's both, it's all. And so life becomes so beautiful. Life becomes so beautiful. And like, I feel like past versions of me would have not expected to feel such joy, feel such fulfillment, excuse me, feel such unconditional love with like the life that I'm living based off of expectation, I feel like Pastor G would be like, girl, what? Like, and be like, oh, you don't got this. Like, how are you happy? And it's really just like, my happiness is not tied to external things anymore. It's rooted within me. And so that's also when you realize how important your emotions are and taking care of yourself and your emotions as you are, taking aligned action as well. Balancing, that's also an important thing, balancing your masculine and feminine energy. And I feel like this ties in really well to my next topic of your reintroduction into the world as your new self. So depending on how long you've been in hermit mode, there, revealing or being your new self might be daunting, and in that it's not necessarily like you're like, hi, I'm new. I mean, you could do that, period, if you wanted to. But it's more of like when you start making choices and taking aligned action in ways that were different than what you used to do, and basically the reaction or the effect of it through other people, places, things, experiences, situations, right? And so sometimes it's going to be like a little uncomfortable because it's like you're showing up for yourself in a new way and you don't know how the external stimuli will respond to that, right? But in you having a higher standard for yourself of what you want to experience, you have to take the aligned action to match that. You, through being in hermit mode, through purging, through releasing, through spiritual ascension, you have tended, you have nurtured your feminine energy, right? And there's a time where you have to kind of all of that masculine energy, the expression or the things that you've been doing internally, now you have to switch externally to start really wielding the things that you desire into reality, because like when you are in hermit mode or just in introspection, like you will become magnetic. But the thing is, when you really start balancing and start doing things that are aligned with your most authentic self with your highest timeline, you will be much, much more magnetic because you are balanced, because you are showing to yourself, to your internal world, to the universe, to God, to source, that you are willing to take action. You are willing to move with intent, with the ideas, the beliefs that you have. And for your external reality to change, you have to change first, right? And you've done the work to change internally. So now it's like when you start taking action, that action will be met with an effect, will be met with the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your internal work and your external action. And when you are, reintroducing yourself into the world, you will start to have new habits and patterns and routines based off of the life and in you being clear on your vision, the life that you want for yourself. And a lot of these new habits and patterns are going to come internally. They're going to come through ideas or things that you're experiencing and like things that you want to change. A lot of the roadmap of building your highest reality, building your dream life is going to be internal, unless it's within, or even in like connecting to other people, connecting to people who have like programs or, mentorship and like a built out plan, a built out path. When you really are living authentically, most of it is going to be from internal. And also, most of the journey that you're going to be on, you will be on alone. I'm not saying necessarily that people will not be there or, you won't have close friendships, deep friendships, but like when you are like in awareness and within the present moment, like a lot of your attention isn't really on the external. It's really on the present moment. So it's like if you're being present like 100% of the time, or say 90%, because obviously I feel like 100% is kind of crazy. But if you're being like so present, like you really will be with yourself like majority of your time and majority of your life, just in terms of like your day to day, and you kind of also have to like change your relationship with being alone or loneliness. But also I feel like that just matters in terms of like what your astrology may look like too, because for me it is, since I have like my Jupiter in 12th house and Neptune in 6th, so it's just like I'm more prone to introspection, to time alone, to inner reflection more than other people. I'm prone to being alone more than other people. But really just like in you being more introspective, in you taking the time to reflect, you will be alone, but like it doesn't feel like it, because like you're so present and you're so within the experience and gaining the knowledge, the wisdom of that moment, that like it won't even dawn on you about that. unless if you have like a lot of Libra placements or Gemini placements, that's like air, and also Venus, Mercury. But those Venusian, especially Libra, since that's like ruling relationships, and Taurus, I feel like, but Taurus is more internal. But I feel like definitely Libra and Gemini are energies that are more with people, or with experiencing and interacting with different perspectives and balancing that. Yeah. And another point in, your reintroduction to the world as your new self, there are going to be times where you feel uncomfortable, because you're doing something new, or you feel uncomfortable with something that you used to do, and it's kind of like a call for you to change, a call for you to shift, a call for you to enact a new action, for you to take aligned action on a different way. And also just like doing something that you've never done before, But knowing that those little moments of uncomfortableness don't mean that it's not going to work out. That's just your ego kind of being in its head, self-conscious, because your ego loves routine. Your ego loves, things being step by step, or the path being laid out, straight and known, because it's trying to protect you. It's trying to eliminate all fear so it can be comfortable. But there's a moment, or you now know that comfortability sometimes is a box, is a jail, is something that suffocates, and so definitely getting used to the uncomfortableness, but like moving and taking that action anyway, and being adventurous, having fun, and connecting with your inner child, connecting with the passion and fire that you have within yourself about whatever spurs joy, spurs happiness within you, spurs lightness, spurs, freedom. And in being adventurous, and you continuing to take, risks by doing something different, by taking aligned action based off of your new self-concept, you'll be able to build courage to continue to being more confident, to being more self-assured, to being more self-secured within yourself, because you know that you are the creator of your reality. You are the creator of your story, and you can define all external people, places, things, experiences, situations as you want to. You have the power. I've got the power. But literally, you do. And like, once you know that you have the power to create and recreate your story, like, life becomes, less serious, or less daunting, or less hard, because you know that it doesn't really matter at all. I mean, obviously some things matter, but you have the power to decide what matters to yourself, And so it really just is about balance. Balancing all elements, fire, earth, water, air, balancing the planets, balancing, the initial energies, or the main energies that you are, or that manifest through you, if you are into astrology, just being your most balanced, centered version of yourself. And through cultivating your joy, cultivating your happiness, you'll be able to build something for yourself that is like beyond your wildest dreams. And that's what it really is, that's really, or for me, my purpose in my life is just being the most authentic version of myself, being the most freest, the most liberated, the most joyous version of myself. That's what I was, if you want to think about put here to do, that's what my spiritual assignment is. And through being dedicated to your healing journey, it's like you are fulfilling that every day, And when you are in this mode, you celebrate the little things. You celebrate the small steps, the small achievements, because through that joy, you will be able to attract and birth more beautiful things, more beautiful achievements, more beautiful, just a beautiful life in general, you know? And so this is just also encouragement to, if whatever stage you're in, just to keep going, because it gets really beautiful. It gets really miraculous. It gets so magical. It gets so joyous. And all the time, the pain, the tears, the journaling, like just like the uncomfortableness, the releasing, the cleansing, like it's all worth it. It's all worth it. And kudos to you for taking the time to do that, for investing within yourself. Because like honestly, that's, I feel like one of the only investments that's worth it, investing in yourself. Because everything else outside can fail you, but you really can't fail yourself. And if you do, you always have the choice to change and redeem yourself from that. But yeah, life is beautiful, man. Life is heavenly. I live in heaven. I love my life. I love myself. And I want everyone to feel like that, you know? So thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I hope that you have received or gotten some wisdom, some knowledge that could help you in your journey. Even if you're not so focused on living a more spiritual life or in your healing journey, just taking one little nugget is enough. If it does change something within your life and bring you more joy, then I have accomplished what I have set out to do. So again, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.